Some stories never make the headlines. They don't involve kings or revolutions, wars or riches. But they hold within them a kind of silent heroism, a quiet triumph that doesn't shout, it heals. This is one such story. The story of a boy who had lost everything, and a dog who had nothing left except a heart so big, it saved a soul. It began in a forgotten town, nestled between the hills and heavy clouds, a town called Millwood. There, on a lonely hill stood an aging brick orphanage. The wind howled through its broken windows like a forgotten cry, and the cold settled deep into the bones of the children who called it home. Among them was a boy who didn't speak. 10-year-old Eli, a child with hollow eyes and a silence that made even the bravest flinch. He hadn't spoken a word in 3 years. Eli had watched his world turn to ash. One late autumn night, his family home caught fire. He had been the only one who survived, pulled out unconscious by firefighters. When he awoke, his parents were gone, and with them, so was his voice. Nothing and no one could bring it back. Therapists tried. Social workers gave up. Other children mocked him, avoided him, or worse, bullied him for being weird. But Eli never reacted. It was as though his soul had been locked behind invisible bars, and no key in the world could reach it. Then came the storm. A vicious snowstorm blew into Millwood late one night. The orphanage's old furnace gave out, and the children were bundled in blankets, shivering through the dark. That's when he came out of the wind and cold, like a ghost from the past or a guardian sent by fate. A dog. Lean, battered, ribs showing through dirty fur. His left ear was torn, his eyes clouded with age and hardship. He limped into the orphanage yard and curled up near the rusty swing set, as if he belonged there or had been waiting for someone. The staff tried to chase him away. Just a stray, they muttered. Probably diseased. But the dog came back the next night. And the one after. Always in the same spot. Always in silence. It was Eli who broke the pattern. For the first time in weeks, he stepped outside. Slowly, cautiously, barefoot on the cold stone steps. His eyes scanned the yard, and landed on the dog. He walked toward him, knelt down, and sat. The dog looked up and without hesitation, rested his head in Eli's lap. No growl. No bark. Just trust. Eli didn't speak, but his hands began to stroke the dog's fur, hesitant at first, then with growing warmth. That was the first time anyone had seen emotion flicker across the boy's face. From that day forward, the dog never left Eli's side. They named him Shadow because he followed Eli like one. He waited by his bed, sat by the classroom door, and stood between him and the bullies. Eli, who hadn't drawn anything in months, now began sketching again, always pictures of him and Shadow. Together in fields. By lakes. Under starry skies. His silence still remained, but his soul had started to thaw. Dear viewers, if you believe in second chances, in the healing power of animals, and in love that asks for nothing but loyalty, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps keep these stories alive. As weeks passed, staff at the orphanage saw the impossible begin to unfold. Eli began humming softly. He began smiling when no one was looking. His drawings became brighter, more detailed. Therapists returned and were stunned by his progress. Shadow was more than just a dog, he was medicine, guardian, and friend in one. But peace, like all fragile things, was not meant to last. One morning, the children were called to the dining hall. The orphanage was being shut down due to budget cuts. Each child would be relocated to different institutions across the state. Families had not come for them, so the system would. The staff tried to spin it positively. New places, new chances. But what about Shadow? He wasn't registered. No microchip. No owner. Just a stray. Animal control would take him away. He's just a dog, one staff member said. The boy will get over it. But Eli did not get over it. He clung to Shadow tighter than ever before. When the white van came, and officers tried to leash the dog, Eli stood in front of him like a shield. The staff tried to pull him away gently, he resisted. Then violently. Then something happened no one expected. Eli screamed. A word. No. One single word after 3 years of silence. It was not just a cry, it was an eruption. A broken soul roaring back to life for the one being who had never let him down. People froze. The dog whimpered. Eli's small fists beat against the chest of the man trying to take his only friend away. He's mine. He's not just a dog. He's my family. Watching from the side was Sarah, a volunteer who'd lost her own son to leukemia years ago. Since then, she had wandered through life like a shadow herself, visiting orphanages and shelters, offering time, but never her heart. But this moment broke her. Tears streamed down her face. For the first time in years, she felt something deep and painful and alive. That very week, she began the process to adopt Eli. And Shadow too. It wasn't easy. Paperwork. Delays. Protests from the system. But Sarah fought like a mother on a mission. And after weeks of struggle, she brought Eli and Shadow home. Her house was modest, a cottage tucked near the woods, with a small garden and quiet mornings. But to Eli, it was a palace. He had a room of his own, with crayons and colors. Shadow had a soft bed by the fireplace. They played. They planted flowers. They walked the hills. For the first time in his life, Eli was learning what love felt like: safe, unconditional, and warm. But time, cruel as it is, was catching up to Shadow. The signs began gently. A limp. Trouble climbing stairs. Labored breathing. The vet's words were soft but firm: he's old. He's been through so much. He doesn't have long. Sarah prepared Eli, gently. Eli didn't cry. He nodded. Then he asked for more paper and began to draw. Each day, he made a new picture. Shadow flying. Shadow in a cape. Shadow chasing away monsters. One night, he drew a picture of a burning house and a shadowy figure leading a small boy to safety. He titled it, "He Saved Me." Then came the morning. Eli found Shadow curled under his bed, barely breathing. He laid beside him and began whispering. Not crying. Just talking. Words came freely now: stories, memories, dreams. He told him about his parents. About the fire. About the fear. You carried all of it, he said. So I didn't have to. Shadow's eyes opened once more. His tail gave a soft wag. He pressed his nose against the boy's hand. Then, with a sigh, he was gone. Silence. Then, slowly, Sarah joined him on the floor. They held each other as the sun rose behind them, painting the walls gold. Weeks passed. Eli kept drawing. One day, Sarah found a sketch in his room. It showed a small boy standing in darkness, and a dog walking toward him, carrying a torch in his mouth. Above the drawing were the words. He wasn't just a dog. She posted it online, just to honor Shadow. It went viral. Tens of thousands of people shared stories of animals who saved them. Rescue centers overflowed with applications. Shadow's drawing hung in galleries, hospitals, classrooms. A movement began: not just a dog. His story helped raise funds for shelters and changed laws protecting strays. His legacy was now saving others. They called him just a dog. But before he died, Shadow gave a child his voice back, a grieving mother her purpose, and a broken world a reason to believe again. And on the day he passed, the clouds cried with rain so gentle and endless, it felt like even God wept for his story. If this story touched your heart, if Shadow reminded you of love without limits, then please like this video, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales, because the world needs more stories like this. Before you go, please tell us in the comments, has an animal ever saved you or someone you love? Your story matters, and we'd love to hear it.